Hi, my name is Leah Day, and I'm here with my husband Josh, and we're working on the circles and stairs design in a rail fence block.
Okay, this is a pretty unique block just in the way you quilt it, because the others I've done so far have all been kind of in quadrants, where you either stitch out a few rectangles in the ditch, and you fill up each quadrant. This one kind of goes all over the block, and personally I find that a lot easier.
Just the randomness? You like the randomness of this block?
It's not necessarily random. You fill up a corner, and then you fill up the opposite corner, and then you have the circles that go diagonally along the middle, and those are what I'm going to do last.
Well, I actually knocked those out first, so it's really interesting how you're choosing to quilt this, Josh. I think that's really interesting, the way that you knocked out that corner circle first.
Yeah, that's the most technically difficult part in this block. That's why For me, yeah, absolutely. That's why I try to do the hardest first, just to get it out of the way, because it's right on the edge of the block, which is always the hardest location.
Those straight lines are looking really, really good. Do you feel like it's just all the practice you've been getting with straight lines through these blocks?
It's that, and also I like how this one flows.
So you're going to travel stitch back now. You might want to rotate because you're getting a little bit of thread issues, I'm seeing. Just a little bit of thread bouncing in this area. I kind of noticed that pretty quick. So just kind of be mindful of that and rotate if you ever see it happening on your own
Okay,
machine.
now we're beginning to do our circles within squares. And I like to fill out the square first.
Going to give it a little boundary line before you stitch the circle.
Now we're going to move into the circle. Just travel stitch over the established border there.
And you know, this is something that I gave advice about in our second block. If you stitch a circle and you're just really not happy with it, you can always fill that circle with a spiral, and it kind of hides the mistakes. But that looks great. That's absolutely perfect.
That, I can say right now, is the best circle I've done.
Yay!
Okay, now we're going to continue finishing with the circles and squares, and then move on to these the longer lines.
Zigzaggy lines.
Zigzaggy lines.
Call those stair steps.
Now just
And you
fill
might
in
want
the
to knock
circle.
out all those straight lines, like almost think of a figure 8 to knock out those straight lines, just so you have them all knocked out at once. Well, certainly the path you're taking has a lot more travel stitching than the path I took, but the thing to keep in mind is that there's no right or wrong way to stitch any of these blocks.
Just go in whatever direction you feel the most comfortable. That's the most important.
Planning out, spending a little bit of time with your quilting guide or your marked block from Spoonflower, spending a little time tracing it, or just kind of really getting a game plan down can help with that if you're really obsessing about the amount of travel stitching you're doing. But as this shows, Josh is travel stitching quite a bit, and it still looks good, and it's still an ability to move through the block pretty continuously. So just there's no right or wrong way of doing it, and if you want to add extra designs within the circles, that'd be cool too. I'd love to see like little flowers or hearts or something kind of funky in the circles. I think that would look really nice, and it would add to the block, certainly.
Or spirals. Or another neat thing you could do, you could have a circle within the, a square within the circle.
Oh, that's a good idea. That would kind of go with all the straight lines and sharp angles on the outsides of it.
Exactly.
That'd be kind of cool. Excellent. Another major difference with this particular design, Josh, is that it ignores what would be the piecing lines. Of course, your block doesn't have any ditches or piecing lines necessarily, but we just kind of ignored all those different colors and flowed over and on top of them. And I think that it really makes it an interesting design over the surface.
And that really jumped out at me too. I noticed that almost instantly when I began by quilting the border first. And
now you're just back to those straight lines to knock out the rest of it. Excellent.
So with that, you just follow the lines. It's that simple. Well, you try to.
That is excellent. It's okay. What happened there is you shifted your hands just as you were making a pretty fast movement, and so you got a big wobble.
What happened, my elbow was getting tired and I adjusted my arm, and of course, you always want to do that when you're not stitching.
Yeah, kind of stop and then reposition. That's a good thing to kind of remember. Also, you know, where you put your elbows, how you rest your arms, there's no right or wrong place, but you want to just be mindful of any strain or pain or, you know, discomfort in your body as you're quilting. You don't want it to hurt. I can sit down and I can stitch for a couple hours in a setting and it not hurt my body at all. But at the same time, it's one of those things that you have to find the right setup. You have to, you know, kind of figure out where your machine needs to rest and how high, and your chair, all that kind of stuff really plays a big deal in how comfortable this feels. Excellent. That looks great. That was circles and stairs in our rail fence block. Josh, how did you like this design?
I like this one. It was quick and easy, and the circles were all the same size, and there wasn't really any overlapping with curves, and I always like that.
It was pretty linear. You were wearing out a little bit towards the end, and kind of, you know, shifting your body around a little uncomfortable and stuff. What would be your advice to another beginner, another person that's, you know, kind of feeling that physical discomfort? Stop and take a break, or what would you say?
Yeah, definitely, you know, stop and take a break when you're getting sore, and also pay attention to what your body wants to do, and maybe it's not the best thing. Case in point, I like to lean my elbows and my forearms on the table, and that really wears you out. I've tried to, when I lift my arms up and have my fingers touching the surface, that makes things a lot easier.
But it's a hard thing to kind of get into and keep your arms up. I've heard a lot of people on the Facebook group page talk about chicken arms a little, and it can feel like a strain to do this for too long. It comes with time and building muscle. You're building muscle memory in the sense of moving the block and kind of keeping your speed and your movement regulated. You're also building memory as to what feels comfortable and what position your body wants to be in for this. There are days that I sit down in my chair and I crank it really up high, and so my hands can be at a nice 90-degree angle. There are some days I come in and what feels comfortable is to drop my chair down very low, and so I have a lot more ability to rest my arms on the table. So it's different every day, and I think that an adjustable height chair is a great investment. I got mine on eBay. Just look for doctor's chair. You don't need a back on your chair for free motion because you're always sitting up straight.
Doctor's stool.
A doctor's stool, yeah. And you don't need a back on the chair, but you do need a nice adjustable height, because there's going to be some days that you want to be really high and some days you want to be really low, and this affects how your arms rest on your table and how you move the block. So keep that in mind, and I hope that you enjoy stitching out this design. My name is Leah Day, and I'm here with my husband Josh, and we've just stitched out a block for the Building Blocks Quilt Along. You can find Spoonflower cheater cloth panels, exactly like Josh is working on, at spoonflower.com. Just do a search for Building Blocks and you'll find it. So until next time, let's go quilt.